Alright, should be summing up part 7. Yay, not really. Alright, anyways, but yes, get it done, finish. So, I would just argue, okay, everybody has theories about what's wrong with civilization, and everybody has theories about, even identifying what the definition of wrong is. What people can't even agree on what's fun and what's tormenting in a lot of cases. So they think because we have less torment, we're missing out on something good. So he thinks that traditional models, built out of the archaic system, mostly the Christian themes, are what's vital. And you'd argue that the natural model was more like Caligula or something, some sort of hierarchy of orgy management. Clearly that's the animal world. Alpha and the rest of the betas are just stealing what they can. But those models all suck, and those models don't deal with any of the realities that we've banged into, just by the whole progress thing, where our value diminishes as our technology increases. We can't, we don't have to bargain with each other because we don't need each other. Machines can take our places and that kind of stuff. So you don't need the hive anymore, because the hive doesn't have to build the bridge to get across the stream, because they could just hire it done. They can hire the ants to do it, or they can hire the machines to do it. Lots of things we're banging into, and those things are the things that are making our culture, vibrate in an unpleasant manner, let's say. Those are good things that get broken, in my opinion. Stupid contracts of relationships and role-playing and all that kind of stuff. Hey, it's good that stuff is falling apart. He really thinks that's a threat. And that's why all this anti-rhetoric about the scary, Marxists, trannies coming to get you. The excesses of that rhetoric. And so yeah, just generally speaking, he's got the problem wrongly identified, and his solution of going back to the past, which has no power to fix the problems of the future, is just silly. So yeah, useless drivel, more of the same, right? They're all idiots out there, I'm just telling you. I mean, you don't think so, fine, I'm just telling you, everyone else besides me is a fucking idiot. Yeah, they got it wrong. Except for Jack Kevorkian, but he's dead. So yeah, it's just me left.
Truth puts reality behind you, so that you can face the reality that's coming straight at you, without becoming weak and degenerating and becoming resentful and
No. Practice makes perfect. So this is just stupid. The past teaches you how to react. It gives you the power, the touch, the feel. For, oh, here it comes again. Oh, here it happened. Oh, it's coming. So when you see the, when you smell the nice smell, and you see the shining hair, and you see the little red lips and the little blinky eyes, yeah, you'll just think, oh, run away. So you'll have the new instinct. I mean, I'm pro-feminism and all that kind of stuff, but I'll concede that it's quite impossible, to successfully navigate love. If you're going to do it seriously, if you're going to try to do it like this is going to work permanently, or for any kind of, it's difficult, because the odds of finding somebody you can live with is really not very good odds.
Wishing for the destruction of being, because that's the final hell. The final hell.
No, that's the final, we finally got the answer right, is you can't make cake out of dog shit. And all the ingredients that we have to work with are shit. Some kind of shit. The shit of all the bad ingredients of this machine that we are. And the sooner we figure out, you can't make anything really edible out of this, so let's just quit trying to do that, the better off everything will be.
Is your soul wishing for the destruction of everything because it's too painful and you're too bitter. And that happens to people all the time.
I wish it happened to people all the time. That would be really super if that happened to all the people all the time, or many people many of the time, or any of that. It seems like the rare person willing to admit, I'm caught in a bunch of futile nonsense. And now they're telling me I should make a child and shove him into the same rickety roller coaster I rode. Why would I do? And it's even rickier now, because now the debt is quadrupled from when, I mean, there wasn't even any debt when I was a kid, right? Barely. A few $1,000s from World War II left over. And now a kid is born owing $358,000. $358,000. Something like that. Starting off. I mean, you're showing up for the horse race with a lead ball tied to your tail.
Now, as a person who is someone who's extremely critical of ideology,
I gotta move this up. I forgot. I'm not gonna get this finished if I don't speed it up. Gotta go fast, faster, faster. Oh, I think I did the wrong fast, so I better choose the right fast, not the wrong fast, because the wrong fast might be too fast, and people, you did that on purpose. No, I didn't do it on purpose. Okay.
oh, geez. A lot of people would think it's a contradiction for you to embrace religion, because religion being the biggest, the oldest ideology.
Ideology is a parasite on religious substructures. You can't.
Ideology, I'd say ideology, is a parasite, because he said, so refinement. So he doesn't even want us to be religious. He wants to be a fundamentalist religion.
Look, we could go back to the Harry Potter example. That's a good example. I mean,
No, it's a horrible example. I mean, it's a childish fucking example. It has nothing to do with reality. We don't have magic wands. We don't have special powers. There's no lesson to be learned except, in the end, what? That you have to go get the special wand so you can do the special trick, because without it, you're doomed. Some kind of bullshit like that. That's a good moral to the story? Fuck that.
J.K. Rowling had kids reading like 400-page books, right? She could fill a stadium when she was reading. Why?
Why? Because, I don't know, because you're all retarded. I don't know, yeah, just proof that idiocracy has won. That this was compelling mush. I'd go to a Flintstones concert, but I'm sure as hell ain't going to show up for the Henry Potter show. Flintstones were so much cooler.
She got the archetypes right. She got the religious sub-narratives correct. They're not ideologies. Ideologies work.
Oh, well, whatever. Yeah, so they're not ideologies, they're religious subtexts. I mean, can you people actually navigate between this nonsense? You're supposed to make distinctions between religious subtexts and ideologies, and somewhere in this nonsense is supposed to be something like a true, honest theme to live by. Now, I would argue the true, honest theme to live by is, holy shit, you've landed in hell, and how do you get out of here with burning the least amount of shit, creating the fewest fires?
An ideology is a parasite on top of a religious substructure, and a religious narrative has a particular set of characteristics. It's very balanced.
No, it's very insane. Okay, religions are completely dependent on a fantasy profit you get after the fact, and so if you take away your heaven, do you really think that Christian ethics and all of this Christian mishmash creates a life worth living? No, it doesn't make leprosy worth it anymore. Well, why should I endure this and endure that and endure this pain if there's no payoff? So it doesn't work at all without its promises that somehow this grinding in through this mush of shit somehow is worth it. Well, there's no worth it without your eternal paradise.
So, for example, there's the feminist idea of the patriarchy. Well, the religious idea of society has an evil patriarchy notion built into it. That would be the dying king, the once great dying king. You see this in the Egyptian story of Osiris, for example, who's eventually chopped out.
Right, so God's going to die? Well, that would be really super. So, yeah, if you throw a dying God into the God story, well, it might be worth reading then, yeah. Because he's an idiot. I mean, he's probably fucking heaven all to hell. So, yes, if they get rid of God, get rid of that fucking prude, that moralizing cunt, that violent lunatic, yeah, get him out of there. Maybe heaven's a fun place to be.
You see it in The Lion King with
oh, this guy is just full of cartoons, right? So it's just one cartoon after another. And they're totally unrealistic stories of we conquered evil, because evil was dumb as fuck. And that's it, right? The only way you win is because evil is so fucking stupid. They always leave the door open. They never lock the goodies. They're never, they walk into a building and put their gun on the counter, okay, and then walk and take a pee. Yeah, they're really stupid.
Mufasa and Simba's father and Simba's evil uncle. Those are the two representatives of the patriarchy, the wise king and the tyrannical king. In a religious story,
I don't know. How is this? How does that have anything to do with patriarchy, having good and evil? Where is that in patriarchy? I just see the fucking obnoxious, possessive owner. I don't see the good guy in that story.
Probably set up archetypal story. There's the natural world, the chaotic world. There's a positive element and a negative element. There's the social world. There's the wise king and the tyrannical king. And there's the individual world, and that's the adversary and the hero. There's always a positive and a negative at each level. And it stops it from being an oversimplification, because it says to you...
There's never always that and always this. There's none of this. It's all bullshit sometimes, right? Because sometimes something's just purely good, like penicillin or something.
Well, of course, bloody society is no oppressive patriarchy. But it's also the wise father that has taught you to speak every word you know. It's like, you don't get to say only this part of the story without having gratitude for this part of the story. And it's true that at each level of the representation, a properly balanced story has got the balance between positive and negative always correct.
So again, the slave story is the masters really were benevolent people who did something good. No.
In many ways, like a lot of people who are anti-Western capitalism are also the only...
These people are overtly against, any kind of social justice. So this isn't a fake name they've given this problem in the world. It's quite real. They think this idea of any notion of social justice is something for people to fear. That they're coming to take our inherited money. They're coming to tear down the monarchy. Oh, let's all fight. Save the king. God save the king. Fuck, it's all over this narrative. These are just desperate emperors trying to keep their power.
Kind of capitalism and Western capitalism in particular is the only culture that has embraced the acceptance of people like transgender people, people who are gay, people who are marginalized.
Well, that's the most imbecilically silly lie ever told in the history of mankind or something. The cultures we annihilated actually didn't give a shit about this kind of crap. They really couldn't have cared less. So, some of the Indian cultures, for example, and other things, they didn't care about these role-playing. They said it was okay for a warrior, if he didn't want to go warring, to go mash wheat if he wanted to. He'd go play with the girls. They didn't get all bent out of shape.
Western capitalist society is one of the very few cultures that openly abhors racism.
Right. Well, and these people are
again, it openly abhors racism by perpetrating it and then electing a new king who basically says, more clubs for the cops. Yes, let's increase the you might as well put the word black guy on the club too. Yeah, it's for the black guys.
List on their iPhones. Right, you don't get to do that. Right, it's a performative contradiction.
That's so important.
Yeah, they're on their iPhones while they're flying.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm anti-capitalist. It's like, well, actually, no, you're not. You're just...
So he thinks we need capitalists to have an iPhone. So again, this is another one of the ultimate bullshit arguments. We somehow need owners, or we wouldn't figure out how to make potato chip factories. Somehow we wouldn't figure out how to make airplanes if we didn't have owners to own the airplanes. Bullshit.
Confused. That's what you are. It's deeply confused.
It's not capitalism that's the problem. It's evil that's the problem.
It's also it's a deeper problem. Evil is our problem. So there's a religious scholar named Mircea Eliade who looked at flood myths, because there are flood myths all over the world. God gets fed up, floods everything. It's like just like in New Orleans. So here's the funny thing about New Orleans. What caused the New Orleans flood? Well, a hurricane.
No.
Yeah? No. How about human corruption? How about the corruption of...
No. So again, they can't even get history right. New Orleans was already below sea level, and it keeps sinking every year in the sense that it keeps going out into the ocean. That's the problem with New Orleans. It doesn't have it, and all the soil is gone. The thing is sinking. It's in a delta, and it's basically going downstream. So yeah, it's doomed. It's going to be Atlantis someday, okay? They're going to have to change the name to Atlantis because it's going to be on the bottom of the fucking ocean. So yeah, it was idiotic to even invest 10 cents in it 200 years ago, and it was dumb to do it 50 years ago, and it was really dumb to do it 10 years ago.
Of the state. How about the fact that people knew the damn dikes weren't going to hold? That the levees weren't going to hold? How about that they knew that for 100 years and didn't care? How about that they pocketed the money that should have gone for the repair? And so in flood myths, you always see two things. you see that, I'm paraphrasing, say.
Okay, yes, this is all such a right. So we could just go to the Japanese tsunami, and somebody was supposed to know that somehow that was going to happen. The 1,000-year flood, you know, we're supposed to look out for the 20-year flood, the 30-year flood, the 50, the 100, the 200, this 10,000, the 1,000,000-year flood. So every 1 million, so we all should have walls high enough to take care of that. The earthquake, for every 100,000-year earthquake, we should build every building to survive the 100,000-year earthquake. Yeah, right. That won't cost much.
There's a storm. There's dikes, and there's people responsible for maintaining the dikes.
And who's responsible for paying for it? Oh, not the rich, because we have to give them tax cuts. So where does the money come from? Oh yeah, that's right. We'll grind it out of poor people who don't have it. So again, so why don't you explain? Why don't you detail that tragedy and explain exactly how there was some pragmatic, easy solution? Because there isn't. Because it costs money to do all that shit. And nobody wants to pay for it. Because you're all greedy fucks.
The storm won't wipe out the city. It could. But if the dikes are high enough, then it won't. And if people aren't corrupt, then they build the dikes properly. And so God floods the world when the dikes have rotted and the people have become corrupt. And it's a very old story.
Oh, yeah, God does it. So, look, this was all blueprinted. Nobody thought a Category 5 hurricane is unusual anyway. They didn't think one would, okay, it has to be like a perfect shot. You know, no one thinks the perfect shot is going to happen. Then 7-10 split. Oh, he's not going to make that. Well, every once in a while, somebody pulls it off.
Disseminated everywhere. And the reason is well, we inhabit a social structure that's old and dead. Our infrastructure is decayed. Our political, economic, and practical infrastructure has decayed. But why? It's old. Everything decays. Okay, everything's always decaying. That's dangerous. And corrupt people don't do a very good job of keeping it ordered.
Right, again, so he's blaming the corrupt people, and in my opinion, the people to blame are the voters. So there's nobody else to blame. They voted for Reagan when he's saying silly things like, I'm going to expend more money on military, and I'm going to cut your taxes. And everything's going to work out just fine. No, it isn't.
So if things get old and decayed enough, and if people get corrupt enough, then God floods the world. Why? Because that's what happens. Over and over and over and over and over.
And you don't mean God in the literal sense of the word. You mean God as these are the consequences.
Right, that's right. So, and he just before was talking about how we have this gift of language. And this is how he uses the gift of language, is to reference God when he really means those fucking liberals. You know, and then later he'll mean when God's doing something good, it'll be that those will be the conservatives, right? The neocons are protecting us with their four-sided third eye vision into the future.
Actions you are not prepared.
You could say transcendent reality. You could look at it that way. You know, and I mean the idea of God is a very, very complicated idea, but you could say if you
no, it's a very, very simple and stupid idea. This inventor of the universe crap is just plain dumb. It doesn't go anywhere. Who invented God? Oh, man, it's just so fucking... Oh, he was here forever. What do you mean he was here forever? And it took him forever to come up with the dumb-ass idea of putting, you know, assholes next to vaginas? Gee, how clever.
But merely from an intellectual perspective, is you could say that God is what transcends your knowledge. That's all. It's what you don't know. It's what's outside of your knowledge structures. There's a very old story. And this goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel. One of the things that characterizes authoritarians is that there's never anything outside of their knowledge structures. They make their knowledge structures absolute. So in the Tower of Babel, human beings build this structure that's supposed to reach all the way to heaven, so that we can invade the place of the gods. Well, God has none of that. He just blows it apart and throws people all over the world.
Like it was a threat anyway, right? God needed to tear it down. I mean, he should have just said, go ahead, knock yourselves out, doofy. Ain't gonna happen. I mean, really, what the hell? What was the threat real? Were they really going to reach heaven, realistically? I mean, even if you put heaven on the end of the atmosphere, what's the fucking odds of a bunch of Babylonians, right? Come on, not much chance.
It's a very early dramatic representation of the danger of human hubris. And hubris is...
No, it's a dramatic demonstration of how God's a petty cunt. I mean, he wouldn't even let them try. They're going to inevitably and absolutely fail, and he wouldn't even let them try. Fucking cunt.
We know everything. There's nothing that needs to be left outside of what we know. It's like, no, that's what God is. God is what's always outside of what you know.
is the problem with the term.
Well, whatever that is, right? So again, as we're crashing right into the know-it-all syndrome, where we do know so fucking much. I mean, the whole human genome thing, that we're just validating everything. We can measure things. We can statistically follow people through decades now. We can do all this kind of stuff. We can measure how much fucking CO2 is in the atmosphere every fucking microsecond. We can do lots of shit, and this asshole's talking about how we don't know anything again. There's some mystery floating around. No, there's no fucking mystery. You're smelly frickin' dinosaurs, and you can grow out of it, you know, with intelligence, and try to rise above your shitty origin, the crappy egg you hatched from, or not. But that's it.
God. No, the people think of God as being a man. They think of it being a person. They even use the masculine pronouns in reference to God.
Yes, isn't that offensive? Right, but you think that's okay. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing something stupid. Why don't we blame God on the bitches now? Now that you guys are all so fucking bitch fury, you know, why don't you let God be a bitch? Then you can blame it all on the bitch. Jesus.
One of the funniest things about God is calling him a he.
Well, it's a problem. I mean, and that's certainly been a problem. Jung talked about that a lot, about the exclusion of the feminine within the domains of classic Judeo-Christian thought, for example. I mean, you have Mary, who's a kind of a quasi-deity who pops in sort of like as a fourth member of the Trinity, but the exclusion of the feminine is definitely a conceptual problem. Is the fact that God...
Well, I mean, because, yeah, excluded because they're so busy fighting off the blights that God imposed from day one. I mean, child one gets, you know, forever blighted with periods and pain. Gee, thanks, God. Like, I got nothing better to do with my time than moan and groan, and then you complain about it. I mean, it was your brilliant God's plan.
Conceptualized as a human being or as a man, a problem. It's a problem and a solution. I mean, if you remove the human element of God, then God gets so abstract that it's easy for him to float off into space and to never show up again. You lose the human connection. I mean, the way the Catholics solved that to some...
Yeah, but where was the human connection ever? I mean, the whole painting thing with the little fingers is very cute and all, but yeah, exactly how has God ever been connected to anything real? You know. Sorry, I can't see any.
Is that they have God who's sort of at the top of the hierarchy, and then they have this hierarchy.
He can't even define his heaven. His heaven is, well, everything you knew in your life will evaporate, and you'll have no knowledge of it, and you'll be a complete imbecile who has no... You couldn't recognize your life if I played it for you. Yeah, and you'll live, you, not remembering who you are at all, will live forever in bliss, doing blissly things. Surrounded by shiny rubies. Ironically, somehow that's important. We do have plenty of gemstones lining the entire circumference of your playground to please you.
Saints who are sort of like gods, but half human, and then they have human beings at the bottom. And that allows for what would you say, a continual chain of communication between the highest level of abstraction and the actual, you know, the actual concrete person. But the other thing that's useful about the conceptualization of God in anthropomorphic terms is that, and this is worth noting, is there is nothing more complex in the cosmos than a human being. So if you're looking for something to represent the ultimate in complexity...
That's sort of not true, because guess what? There's other things more complicated. Like you could offer that like about porpoise is more complicated because he has more senses than we do, because he's doing that whole echolocation thing. So that's a more complex brain function in and of itself. So they're probably more complex, physically more complex in terms of their physical mechanical structures. Probably.
It's hard to beat a human being. So your brain is ungodly complicated, so to speak. So, I mean, these things are...
Well, it's probably not, actually. There's just a lot of the same stuff. It's just storage, you know. Most of it is just storage locations. The complex part is the little bits inside that figure out how to make all that storage mean something. How to connect the dots. But most of it's just making dots.
It's too complicated to unpack in a
Yeah, I didn't expect us to even get into this conversation, but I'm glad we did. Do you think that these stories exist because somewhere in our code, somewhere in our very being, we understand that there is a need for this order, to find this frequency?
Oh, they're an expression of our deepest being. They're an expression of how it is that we must live in order to live.
Yes, right. Bambi and Dumbo. It's all some very good stories of social justice warring. Isn't that funny? Yes. Especially, Dumbo. He was a real social justice warrior, True. The first tranny. Great story. So, haha on you. Yeah, Dumbo greater than douchebag professor and his douchebag stories. Dumbo greater than Henry Potter bullshit.
Reach our full potential.
Even more than that. Even to avoid hell. And you can think of you can think about hell as Nazi Germany if you want. You can think about it as
yes, the Soviet Union as those your socialist European countries. Think of hell as universal health care or something like that. Yeah. Ooh. We're coming. They're coming to get you.
Soviet Gulag Archipelago or Mao's Cultural Revolution. Like, we can get there, no problem. If you walk down in some of the seedier areas in LA, you'll see people in hell, no problem.
Sure, go to Skid Row.
Yes.
Yes, right. And those were created by Mao. Oh, wait a minute. No, those were created by Reagan. He's the one who burned down all the mental hospitals, by the way. The good plan. Yeah, fuck this, taking care of sick people. It's too much trouble. Just let the street do it. Yeah. Let them, you'll learn from the dumpster.
But you can tell when those people are there because they will get angry if you look at them. And you'll walk a big berth around them. You're not going to come within 10 feet of the, let's call it, psychogeography of their existence. Right.
Oh, the psychogeography. So we have new catchy words for honky tonk. Yeah.
Now they're in a place. It's a metaphysical place, but it's not defined by the damn geography.
Right.
Skid Row is as much of a psychological place as it is a physical place. In fact, it's more a psychological place, but that doesn't make it any less a place. And if you descend into the hell of Skid Row deep enough, you'll get to the point where most of your thoughts are murderous.
Yes, that's where most people are born. They are born there. Okay, let's just recognize that. Most people are born into poverty. Born into it.
And that's hell as a suburb of the underworld, fundamentally. That place exists. People visit it all the time. And sometimes they don't get out. It's real.
I've been discussing this a lot recently because
people don't get out of it. That's right. Just as the rich don't uninherit their wealth and the Rothschild fortune still exists and all of that shit, the legacy remains. And you have little anecdotal stories of how once in a while they fall off the stagecoach, but most of them stay comfortably inside.
I'd like to talk about the concept of apocalypse, that we're headed towards an impending apocalypse. And my thought is that apocalypse is already here, it's just not right here.
Yeah, it's always here.
Go to Liberia and look at people defecating in the streets and eating human flesh. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Vice piece on Liberia, but it's unbelievably terrifying how people live there.
The apocalypse is an archetypal idea, and the apocalypse is always here. And it's here at the micro level. Like, when we have a discussion and our concepts change, those are micro apocalypses. Little bits of our being are being blown apart and restructured. And that can happen at a small scale or a large scale. Or it can get to the point where everything collapses and is destroyed. And life is apocalypse.
Yeah, let's just understand that it's the religious nuts that have kept people in circumstances where they should have no excuse for having children, and all that kind of stuff. The Catholics and their 15-kid bullshit.
Apocalyptic in that matter, because we all get sick, we all die, our families are vulnerable. There's an apocalyptic element to being, and we have to face that and confront it and deal with it properly.
Right, and how do you properly deal with it? Shut up! Don't complain about it, dumbass! Fuck! Don't talk about dying, don't talk about disease to me! No, I don't want to hear about any of that shit, you pussy! That's your fucking solution. Your solution sucks. Yeah, fuck you! I'm gonna complain, jackass!
And the wrong way to deal with it is to generate more hell than heaven, I suppose, and to do that consciously. And people do that all the time too. There's never such
yes, well, that's what you masters are doing. Okay, you're creating the slave state, you fucking cunts, with your greed, your fucking obsessive fucking greed. Seeing a Marxist under every fucking stone because they say something like, well, there should be goddamn fucking, you should earn it. You should get paid for what you produce. Not have a bunch of thieves and middlemen steal all its value. You crook.
Situation that's so bad that there isn't something you can do to make it worse. And there's very seldomly a time when you're not motivated at some level of your being to put the knife in and twist it just one more quarter turn. People are like that. And we have reason. Life is hard. It's no wonder people get corrupted by it. It's not an easy thing to live in a...
What is this bullshit, right? I mean, like I said, Trump had every advantage to turn into an honest man. No. It was a deprivation and hardship that drove him to be such a liar? A fucking preposterous liar? No, just greed.
Not an easy thing to live, let's say, in a truthful manner. But the alternative is hell. I mean, part of the reason that I made these videos to begin with is because, I learned a lot about the importance of spoken truth as the
I mean, what's the point of talking about spoken truth when you got to layer everything in preposterous lie stories about bullshit that ain't true, like gods and demons and, floods come because God found it advantageous to, take advantage while you're at the toilet and wash your house away? What the fuck is this bullshit?
Countervailing force against tyranny and authoritarianism. It isn't an alternative political structure that's the countervailing force. It's spoken truth that's the countervailing force.
Right, and he wants the tyranny of put your dresses back on. Okay, men, you're all going to be potato farmers. Do the manly thing. Fuck you.
Would I put my job on the line to have an opinion about compelled pronouns? I know why. Because the ability to speak your truth is the bulwark against hell.
And also, we don't know what your financial circumstances were at the time, do we? So, I mean, you put something on the line. My professorship at a, silly college in Toronto or something. Yeah. But yeah, how much money do you have in the bank?
Losing your job? That's nothing. That's nothing compared to where things can go when they go badly. For me, it was just preventative. It's like, this isn't going in a good direction. Well, should you take a risk? It's like, you don't have that choice. You're silent? That's a risk. Now, most people don't understand the risks of silence. I happen to understand the risks of silence because I've been stuck.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me understand taking the risk of being offensive to people who have been traditionally suppressed and underclass. Yeah, I just can't for the life of me understand that risk. Beat them, push them, whack them. Whack-a-mole, yeah. Whack the people trying to find their liberty. You just shot Henry Potter, essentially. Shoot the wand wavers.
Studying them for 40 years.
Is it frustrating for you to get so little support for these actions and for your protests?
Well, I wouldn't say that that's what happened.
And I don't mean so little support because you get a lot of support outside of the
yeah, but let's measure the people who are giving the support. Let's survey the audience. Do you ever look at the Trump audiences?
University.
It's okay. It doesn't matter where the support comes from. It's disappointing in the same way that it's disappointing for me to say I think the universities now do more harm than good. That's disappointing. But it doesn't. It's not surprising to me. It isn't as if intellectuals are characterized by an intrinsic moral superiority. Oh, they're smart, so they'll leap to the defense of what's right. It's like, no, there's no evidence for that. Intelligence and moral wisdom aren't the same thing. And if you're corrupt and smart, all that makes you is way more treacherous. It doesn't make you less likely to be corrupt. It just makes you...
Well, it really has to do with whether the smart is smart. Yes, so having a lot of details, like you do, being able to tell a lot of stories doesn't mean you can pick the right story. So I guess that would be the argument. That knowing a lot of numbers doesn't mean you know how to do good math, something like that. That you know the principles of the rules.
Much more, you're 50 snakes instead of 2, or you're 56-headed snakes instead of 2. I've had clients who had very serious personality disorders, who were very intelligent. It's like, that's not necessarily a good thing for them. They're just better at arguing for their pathology to themselves.
That is a real problem where people automatically assume that intelligent people are going to be healthy.
Yeah, well, they're healthy in the office. They do better in the world, because their skills are more marketable and so on. But there's no evidence that there's any relationship between intelligence and morality. God, let me tell you a story, man. One time I had this...
I think that's silly, to tell you the truth. I actually think that's probably wrong. There probably is some correlation between fundamental getting the simple things right, like intelligence, and not falling for silly fables like religion. So I think those things there will be correlations. So you won't be making the same kind of mistakes, I think.
Lion, this woman was just rude. She looked like a street person, and she had very dirty clothes, and she was so shy that she couldn't even approach you. She had to shield her eyes from you as if you were emitting light, and she did that to everyone on the street. Like, she was bent over and humble, like a Chinese peasant brought before the emperor, And one of the things I was doing with her in behavior therapy was trying to just get her to present herself in a more normal manner so that people wouldn't shy away from her and, be instantly prejudiced towards her. And she'd come to the behavior therapy clinic, And she wasn't bright, this woman. I think she had only had like a 7th grade education. She was quite intellectually impaired.
Well, that must have been a lovely place to be, right? The behavior something or other clinic where you go find a bunch of people with loop-de-doo affects. You know, so a room full of affected people. Oh, yeah, that must be. Too bad you don't have any video of that.
She lived with her sick aunt who was schizophrenic and who had a satanically possessed alcoholic boyfriend that was always tormenting my client. She lived in absolute hell. But she had this dog, and she used to take it out and walk the dog all the time. And then she'd actually come to the behavior therapy clinic, partly because of her own problem, but she'd come to this place called the Douglas Hospital, and she'd been an inpatient in the Douglas Hospital. And in the Douglas Hospital, there were these long-term psychiatric clients, and they looked like something out of a Hieronymus Bosch painting or Dante's Inferno. I mean, this is way worse than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. These people were seriously destroyed, and they couldn't be let back out on the streets during deinstitutionalization. Like, they were lifers. And she had decided that part of the reason she wanted to come to the hospital was because she had been institutionalized there, and she thought that maybe when she took her dog out for a walk, she could go and get one of those damn inmates and take them out for a walk too. Now, that was a person who was immoral, dumb as a post, just screwed in 50 different directions, nothing going for her. And she had the bloody moral capacity to decide that there was someone worse off than her.
And that's just a brilliant insight. You know, she wanted a friend, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's not that complicated. And she wanted to do something productive, maybe.
Believe me, that wasn't easy to find, but maybe she could do them some good if the hospital would let her.
That story wasn't exactly like The Elephant Man or something, you know. It just wasn't all that compelling. I wouldn't make the movie. I'm just suggesting. I wouldn't make the movie.
Which they didn't, by the way. Yeah, well, that's the story of the soul. That's not the intellect, that's for sure. So I didn't expect any support from my colleagues. And it isn't that I don't care if I got it, but it's in some sense it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to me. Because my goal was, I'm not saying those goddamn pronouns. And the reason I'm not saying them is because they're made up by left-wing ideologues. And I don't...
Right, okay, so as long as we know that those are the rules, I'm okay with that. Because I'm not going to say you're right-wing rubbish either. I'm not going to salute your fucking flags. I'm not going to salute your fucking goddamn gods, okay? So can I wear my fuck you in the ass with your god into your fucking dead shirt, okay? So yeah, let's get up each other's ass hard, fucker. Game on, okay. Fuck your language, fuck your ideals, fuck your goddamn tokenal fucking hierarchy. Fuck it until it's dead. We'll do the same thing, alright? Let's get right up each other's fucking ass. And you call yourself a psychologist. That's fucking productive. You can't see how you're being just provocative for the sake of being provocative. You're saying, go ahead, get pissed off. Pick up some rocks and get ready to throw them at my ugly douchebag face. That's all you're saying. And you're a fucking paid psychologist? Your colleagues should be offended that you have a fucking job as a psychologist, you fucking idiot. You fucking don't know what the whole concept of provocation is? You know, I have to explain it to you? I guess I'll have to first put the word in the dictionary and then I can explain it. But yeah, you're just asking for it, you fucking cunt. So yeah, let's all pendulum swing this asshole into the fucking cesspool ditch.
Like left-wing ideology. I don't like ideology, period. And I know where...
And I hate right-wing ideology. So yeah, like I said, we're made for each other, fucker. Yeah, this'll be fun. Yin-yanging, won't it? Yeah, it just makes you want to goddamn charge up the steamroller.
Corruption of speech leads. And I'm not going there. And you know, one of the things I tried to learn when I was taking apart what happened in Auschwitz and trying to put myself in the position of an Auschwitz camp guard, which, by the way, you can do if you use your...
Yeah, just use your imagination. Put yourself in the footsteps of the Baron Trumps. You know, oh yeah, that's right. We all play Daddy. We all play Daddy did it. You know, Daddy gave it to me. And then we pretend that we earned something in the world, and we walk around like we're entitled to respect. Because Daddy gave it to us. You know, Daddy paid for it. He's paid. He paid to have people basically walk in front of me down the street with a gun saying, respect this fucker. Because he has money. Fuck you. Fuck that ethic. Fuck you.
Imagination a bit. I wouldn't call it exactly the world's most pleasant meditative experience. But you can call up parts of yourself that would be capable of taking someone who just got off a transport train and having them carry a 100-pound sack of wet salt from one side of the camp compound to the other and back. You can conjure that part of yourself up if you want, and that'll teach you something about what you're like. People don't do it because it's too frightening, but I know perfectly well that I could do that sort of thing. And so once I learned that I could do that sort of thing, and maybe that I could even enjoy it, I thought, okay, fine, I get it. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to live so that if that opportunity was presented to me, I wouldn't take it.
So I mean, he's comparing killing Jews to respecting transsexuals, respecting their need to be legitimized as a full human being, and not being some subcategory of your labels. Yeah, fuck you.
I think that's the lesson that people need to learn from the 20th century. It's like, that's what human beings did, okay? Well, we're all human, okay? So how is it that we should live so that we don't do that again? Well...
And the way to do that is to make sure nobody violates the he and she rules. That's the moral of this retarded fucking story. Joe Retard Show. The retard experience. It really is the retard experience. You go through 2 hours of this bullshit for that. 2 hours and 50 minutes of absolute fucking goddamn drivel.
Try to say the truth, no matter what, because the alternative is worse, and it is worse.
The truth no matter what, and that is the real problem that you see with being forced into using these made-up pronouns.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my language. I'll take responsibility for what I say. I'm not saying your words.
And being compelled.
So again, it's his language. We are obligated to accept that the language is not allowed to be modified in any way whatsoever for any circumstance where we find out this isn't what black people are. So if we have a language from 200 years ago that doesn't even have a word in there for African American or some other correct designation, we're just supposed to use his fucking words. Yeah, well, fuck you. Fuck you and your fucking words. Fuck you and your pigeonholes. Fuck you. Just fuck you. I think Hendrix said that first. Fuck you, douche.
To say your words by law.
Well, that makes it that takes it past the point of absurdity to the point of tyranny, in my estimation.
And I've seen some criticisms where people are saying, you know, he's talking about this, but really he's grandstanding because no one's doing anything legally. But the potential exists.
Oh, that's such
oh yeah, see, look at they okay, yes, we can't find any legal circumstance where this has ever come up and been a problem anywhere. But it exists. It exists. The problem's coming. The fucking Marxism is coming. They're coming to take all of our money. The trannies. I mean, this is just such bullshit. And again, what's this about? The fact that he doesn't want to acknowledge that some people just rather not be bothered with this he-she bullshit, and they have a right to say, I'd rather not be bothered with that bullshit. Shove it up your ass, Baldy. Am I allowed to sit there and say what the fucking goddamn pronouns defining you as a human being are? Dumpy, Baldy, fucking goddamn unibrowy. What, do you shave that shit, do you, cunt? You hiding from the truth? Unibrow man?
But
they wouldn't have changed the criminals. Yes, they wouldn't have changed the damn criminal. They put it in the hate speech category and altered the criminal code. It's as simple as that. And then you could say, well, no, we didn't really mean it. It's like, oh, yeah, you did. You really meant it. 2 of the social justice warriors that have debated me in the last 2 months accused me directly of hate speech.
Well, it seems that's exactly what you are. You're a homophobic, tranophobic, lunatic fucking tune. Yeah, you should be defined as that, because it seems that you think it's the cornerstone that's going to let all the God's nuclear devil power is going to escape from the bowels of hell. Hell will be released if we acknowledge the existence of people of somewhat confused sexual orientation. All the hell's going to leak loose. You crackpot.
To do was poke them a tiny bit, and they came right out with it. And then the university's legal team reviewed everything I said carefully, believe me, and they decided that, oh, it was not only illegal to not use these compelled pronouns, it was probably illegal to make a video saying that I wouldn't use them. Because otherwise, why would they write me a warning letter and tell me that I violated university policy on the Ontario Human Rights Act? Think they did that lightly?
Have they acted on this at all? Is there?
Well, they won't know. Well, they've acted in that they sent me 2 warning letters and told me to stop talking. And the idea that I was going to be teaching in January again, because I teach all my undergraduate courses from January to May, that was on the table. And I think the only reason that it hasn't happened, one of the reasons it hasn't happened, and I'm not attributing nothing but malevolence to the university administration, because obviously it's very complicated, and they did agree to host a debate, for example. But the idea that I wouldn't be teaching in January, and still might not be, is by no means. That was a perfectly plausible outcome. And had this...
Yeah, well, you seem to have contempt for the entire institution, the people that are running the show. You're just bad-mouthing everybody all over the place, and then you say, well, gee, look how unfair it is. They're going to, you know... And you think that us as individuals in this world that you want to create, that we have any of that power? That I can go to work and I can badmouth my boss and I'm still going to have a job the next day? Well, who of us have any of that power, jackass? So, I mean, you are living in an unrealistic ivory tower world where you think, oh, I have the right at work to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not going to pack meat. I just want to get paid a salary. I'll pack, but I won't pack meat. I won't pack this. I won't pack that. I'll make lots of rules. Yeah, fuck that shit.
Not caused a firestorm, much of which has emerged in support of me, then I would say there was a 50-50 chance that I would have my teaching privileges revoked. It's happened to other professors. So the idea that I'm making it, like that this is a tempest in a teapot, it's like, yeah, okay, fine. Why'd you change the criminal code then? And why'd you put it under the hate speech law?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what kind of contract they have with you, I guess. Because if they have to still pay you, well, then I guess they might as well force you to show up and do your job. But wait till your contract's up. I don't think they'll be signing you up again. Butthead.
Exactly. So, no, doesn't wash. And the fundamental proof of that is the university's response, because for sure their legal team crafted those letters. You know, it was like, recalcitrant employee, you're responsible for. Okay, what do you do with the recalcitrant employee? You write them a letter telling them what they're doing wrong and asking them to stop. Then if they don't stop, you write them a second letter that's more strongly worded.
Yeah, nobody gets that, right? So nobody in the real world gets any of that shit, right? You just get fucking canned, all right? So that's hilarious. He's talking like he's a regular person. Yeah, regular people aren't allowed to cross these lines. You paint your shoes the wrong color for some jobs, you're fired.
Then if they don't stop, you write them a third letter, even more strongly worded. Then you take disciplinary action. That's like HR 101. That's how you do it. So
that's not how it's done for 99.99% of the people working on Earth. They don't get letter one. They don't get no fucking letter. They just get, couldn't you read the sign, asshole? You're done. Get out of here.
So here we sit at the end of November, closing on December. You're literally a bit more than a month away, and you don't know whether or not you're teaching your courses in January?
Oh, that's it. I have to make up a story for that one, don't I? Yeah, because I really did talk to the real administrator. I know I got my job, but I don't want to make it sound like everything's okay. But so I have to make up a story. Henry Potter says
it's highly probable that I'll be teaching them. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's certain, but if I'm teaching them, it's because the cost of having me not teach them would now be too high.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So they're going to pay you out your contract, and then when they're done with you, they're going to be so glad to say, oh, gee, contract's up. Okay, yeah, no, we got this new guy. He's fancier and newer, so I think we'll go with him. It's more special.
It's not because the university believes that what I'm doing is either necessary or acceptable.
If someone who's listening to this or watching this feels compelled to act out in your support, how can they do that?
Bash themselves in the head with a hammer, because it's going to add up to the same thing. Just burn your money. I don't know. Find somebody with AIDS and I don't know, violently French kiss them.
Fuck. I think they could do the future altering exercise.
And that would be the best way to act on your support.
Yes. Buy my program.
Sort yourself out.
Sort yourself out before you try to figure out the world. And that's the primary objective.
Yeah.
So this guy considers himself a sorted out fella, right? He's got his panties all in a fucking knot because somebody obliged him not to call them a he or a she and to call them something else, them. A them. That's what all this is about.
Most important thing that you can do. Sort yourself out.
Sort yourself out and marshal your arguments and put yourself in order so that when someone pushes you a little farther than you should go, you can say no.
And you know what's going on now.
Right. And no in the name of what? No because God says so. You must be a he or a she. That's written in the Bible, for fuck's sake. That's the theme of this show. I mean, I could go dig up some old Jerry Falwell videos and come up with more rational fucking interaction than this mush, this tripe, this garbage.
I think that's outstanding advice. That's very, very important advice, and I think this has been one of my favorite podcasts ever. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so does he always say that? I guess he always says that, right? Says that to everybody. So I did think I would do the one with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I saw that was in there. I'm saying, oh no, that's going to be awful. So yeah, I'll probably have to show up for that. But they'll probably just talk about his past or something. Well, how does a black man become a cosmologist? Something like that. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's just one I gotta watch anyway, so I guess I might as well do this because at least it makes watching a little more productive from my point of view. Whoops. I just did a button. Oh, I did
Coming
a
on.
picture.
I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate you having the courage to stick your neck out, and I appreciate also your incredibly well thought out arguments for the.
Yes, well thought out arguments for how the Marxists are coming and they're all wearing tranny suits or something, whatever. They all have makeup on one eye. You know, red and blue hair or something. Yeah, sorry. You know, this is just, the world, it really is just so fucking dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. Dum 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 dum.
Those actions. So thank you.
Thank you.
How do people get a hold of your YouTube page? What is your YouTube page? What's the address?
Jordan B.
Crazymotherfucker.com. Crazy provocateur of the poker of the pokerites. Maligner of the Malinites. just he's just asking to be a victim in a way, right? Just saying, go ahead, hit me. Because you really want to.
Peterson videos.
Jordan Peterson videos on YouTube.
Yep.
And do you use Twitter? I know you.
Yep.
I put your Twitter page up, and you use it. So,
Yep.
and that is Jordan
B. Peterson. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, sir. Really, really appreciate it. It was an honor.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
See ya.
Yeah, I like to tweet him with a fart message. How many times can you say fart on Twitter in a row, like, and use up all your characters? Anyway, I owe him big time. Lots of farts. Okay. So we did it. All right. So until the next time, and the next thing, and the next whatever, until whatever, and blah blah blah, and move along, and such and so forth and whatnot. But oh man. If I haven't said in a while, I hate this planet. Hate it.